Hey everybody, we are going to go back tonight and recap the pencil tumbler that we had started, and we were having problems with it because of the internet. And I'm trying to use my iPad tonight to see if maybe that'll help. Did a live today and it kept cutting off, so I've got you on my iPad tonight, and we'll sort of see if that's going to work any better. And maybe it will. I don't know if it's the weather. It's been rainy here. But anyway, we're going to go back and we're going to do the pencil cup. And I'm going to recap to get us to where we had got to. And then we're going to finish part one. And then from there, then once we get that done, then we'll go back and do part two at a later date. And I will announce it as an event. So I'm going to turn you down and we're going to get started. And after I turn you down, I am going to see if I can get you pulled up on my computer so I can tell if everything's where it needs to be. So give me just a minute and let's see if we can get it to come up on the computer. And I did, if you'll notice, when I listed this tonight, I listed all the glitters and the colors that we're using. So looks like maybe we are pulling up. So I'm going to wait till it turns down and we'll make sure that we can get it where we can see it, and we'll go from there. So anyway, it looks like I've got it to where we can see where everything is, but I want to make sure, so we'll give it just a little bit. Well, I saw it pause just a little bit, so let's see. Okay, now where we got to last time, we started with just a regular tumbler, and I showed you where, how I do this part right here of the taping, and I just take I use a fine Sharpie, and I just hold it down, and I go all the way around the cup, and then when I tape it just above that black line. And this particular cup already has a line here, so that's going to be right in there is going to be the lead on our pencil. So that's what we taped off for that. And then on the top, if you'll notice, I measured for the pink, and for the pink, which will be this part where this black is right here, I put my tape down and I put my marker on there and I held it, and I went around this way to get this line, and then I got this and held it down and went around to do where the pink is, and I taped it twice, because what we're going to do, you can see where I drew my line, what we'll be doing, that gives us a line for the silver and a line for the pink when we get ready to do the eraser. And I just wanted to go recap that, and I always turn down my ends so they're easier to get to and pull off. So with this cup, what I did, we had got to the point to where we actually painted the bottom so we could do that for the lid, but the lead. And what we did, up to about right here, I painted it white, and I did a wood grain on it. And then I took all of my little bees, when I cut them, they're cut like this. And then I cut them apart into just little pieces. And then when I put them around, this straight part, I line it up with where the line is at the lid. And I do that all the way around. And if you'll notice, they're all jaggledy in different sizes, because that's the way it is when you trim a pencil. And then, of course, I still had this part up here taped off, and I spray painted it blue. And then I took the decal off at the bottom, and it revealed where we had done the wood grain. So here, this is going to be the silver, and I wanted to show you that. And what I'm going to do now, since we're going to leave that silver, then I'll go back in with my tape, and let me trim off this end where I turned it down. And what we're going to do now, we're going to tape it up to this line where the silver starts. Then we'll pull this off so we can do the pink. And normally on all my cups, I tape off the top and the bottom. I did not tape off the top the other day when I did the fishing lure. And this I will not leave any silver on the top because we're doing the pencil eraser. So there's a few occasions and certain designs that I go back and I don't tape off the top and the bottom. But 99% of the time I do. And I always try my best to tape off the bottom, because if a customer drops a cup, I've seen so many people post them this week where people had dropped them and they cracked right around the bottom. So that just sort of helps when you're to protect the cup for the customer and for you. Of course, I always tell my customer, now if you drop it, that's where it's going to crack. And that way they know if it cracks, I know what happened. So now this, I'm just going to turn it down. And now this tape that we've got across the top, we're going to pull it off. Okay, now that's where we're going to do our pink. So what we're going to do on that, I'm going to lay my tape to the side. And we're going to go in with our Mod Podge. And I'm going to do this with Mod Podge because I don't want to have to mix up any epoxy and it set while we're trying to get this done. So we're just going to do it with the Mod Podge. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to put Mod Podge all around the top. And I brush it away from the paint, the tape, anytime I can, and that way you don't have to worry about it getting under your tape. And we're going to go back over it after we get it on here, so we don't leave all these lines in it. You don't want to leave lines like that in it because it will show under your glitter. And if you see, I'm just letting the brush sort of roll across the top. Then we're going to put our glitter on. Okay, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to be more careful and try to get rid of some of these lines. And what I'll do, I'll put out a piece of paper towel so I can sort of wipe my brush off a little bit if I need to, because I don't want these lines on here. And sometimes we may have to go back and put a second coat on because it's not painted. You can go in with acrylic paint and paint it and let it dry like I did this, where we're going to put, where it's going to be the lead for the pencil, and it will be black. Okay. Okay, now I've got some water sitting over here. I'm going to put my brush in it. Now we're going to get our Barbie glitter. And we're going to sprinkle this around the top. And like I said, sometimes you do have to go back and put a second coat when you don't have a base color, because you don't want the silver shining through. And that, I'm just going to set it aside, and we'll let it set just a little bit while we work on the others, and then we'll put another coat on it. So let's put this back in our jar. And then we're going to go on to the yellow pencil. Okay. And I'm going to explain to you how we taped it. Now this one I did it the same way, but now around the bottom where we're going to do our, where we trim the pencil, I put the blue tape to start a base and then a little bit of the black, because I didn't want it as wide as 2 strips of the blue. So I did that all the way around, and that gave me a line that I could use to do the gold glitter without having to mark on the yellow. So now we're going to take this off. And we'll take it off all the way around. Okay. And like I said, when you paint something with your acrylic paint, you have to be careful when you're handling it, because see these spots right here? If you bump it the least little bit, that acrylic paint is going to come off, unless you've sealed it. Okay, and now up here I left this undone so you could see what I'm doing. I'm going back and putting black tape around this, because this is where we're going to put our silver glitter. And that way I just left it so you could see where I was taping it off. Oh, look at there, we had just enough tape. And I'm going to leave a little bit of that on there, and I won't have to fold it down this time. Okay, now we're going to go in, and this time, instead of putting these this way where we had it before on our wood grain design, now we're going to go in and we're going to line them up right at the bottom of this where we put this tape. And they will overlap a little bit. And this is going to give us our design to look like the pencil's trimmed. Going to do this all the way around. And just make sure that this is up on the black just a little bit, because you don't want yellow shining through where you put your gold glitter. Okay. And any of these that I've ever made, they sell really quick. And as you can see, I am letting it overlap in these places, and that's what we want. And I do it this way because if your cup is not a completely straight cup, it's aggravating to deal with trying to wrap these around it. So I had rather just do it individually. But to each his own. Everybody, I've seen pencil cups done so many different ways. And if you've been doing your research or you've been doing them, I'm sure you've seen tutorials where they're done all different kind of ways too. So no way is the perfect way. Everybody has their own way of doing it. So once you get into it, you do it the way that is more comfortable for you. And then this is where we're going to put our gold glitter, our champagne wishes. And all of our glitter that we're using tonight is Black Bear glitters. And the ink that I used on the one where I did the wood grain for the pencil is, it came from Black Bear glitters, and it's Latte, the Tim Holtz Ranger Latte. Okay, we're just about around it. Now, the reason we're doing this over is because when we did it before, the internet messed up. And I mean, it just cut me off completely, so we just had to stop. And that's why we're doing it over. And remember, when I'm doing lives, I don't answer questions during the live. I always go back after the live's over, and I'll either answer the questions tonight, or I'll go in and answer all of them sometime tomorrow. it's just easier for me and works out better. I like to just get on, do the tutorial, go through everything, get it done so you can watch it or you can watch the replay. And then that way you can, if you're busy, you can go back and you don't have to read all the comments and wait for me to read the comments and answer the questions. And that's the way I like to watch a live, and that's the way I do live. So anyway, to each his own. And that's everybody doing it their own way too, because I know a lot of people that do lives and they'll talk and answer questions and correspond back and forth. So everybody just does it their own way. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to do the gold, and we're going to do it with Mod Podge. So I'll need to put a little bit more, probably a lot more. And I've got a little bit small brush when we start around the top, and then I've got my brush that we put in the water that I'm pulling back out, and we're going to use it now to put this Mod Podge on. And remember, you want to pull away from your decal. And I'm just going and getting it all the way around. It dries really fast, so that's the reason I put enough on there that it's sort of not going to dry on me. Now I'm going to turn it up, and we're going to do the tedious part, which is getting up to the black. And if this black had epoxy on it, I could tape it like I did everything else. And a lot of times when I'm making them, I will do that because it just gives you, I think, cleaner lines. Take it right up to the line. Let's see. My computer just, Facebook just went away on my computer. There we go. Scared me. I thought the whole thing had gone down again. Okay, and I'm just going right up to that black line. You want to make sure you cover all of it with your Mod Podge. All the way around. Almost there. Almost there. Just take your time. Okay, now we're all the way around. So now I'm going to go back and we're going to get those lines out there because we don't want them showing, remember. If those lines are there, then they're going to show under your glitter. Cleaning my brush off. Getting rid of the lines. Very slowly. Okay, now put my brush back in the water. Now we're going to do our champagne wishes. And this one I will only do one coat because it does have the yellow under it. So the silver's not going to shine through, and the yellow is not going to change the color of it that much. Okay, so we've got good coverage on that. Let me look and make sure right there's a spot that looking all the way around and making sure I had it meet the black. There's one little spot I see look like yellow shining through. Right there, I see just a little bit. And of course, when it's that close to the black, you can sort of touch it up with the black. Okay. Now we're going to put this back in our jar. Okay. Now I'm going to go in and do the silver. Wipe our brush off so we can start again. But this time on I'm going to use a little bit smaller brush, as you can see, to do the silver. And let me get that gold off my plate. Okay. Now we're just going to go around this silver. Remember, I'm just going all the way around, then I'll go back, and any that's caked up, I'll clean it off. And remember, if you're just joining in, I don't answer questions when I'm working, but I will go back either after the live is over or sometime tomorrow, and I will answer your questions. So if you see somebody that's new on here that's asking questions, if you can help with the answers, that would be great. Or if you could let them know that I will go back and answer their questions after the live, that's just the way I do it. Okay, now I'm just going back and wiping out any lines, and I'm doing it very lightly because I don't want to push it up under my tape. So I'm doing it very lightly. And you can see I'm leaving some of it on the tape. That doesn't matter. That doesn't bother me. I just don't want big lines on the silver where I'm going to be putting our silver glitter. Because the harsh lines will show under your glitter. And we don't want that. I think we got it. Yeah, put that one in the water. Now we're going to use Silver Falls. And get this over here where we can get it on there. And this one is a ultra fine. This is one that you could do a tack it method if you wanted to. Anytime you've got a real fine glitter, you can use tack it on it, and it just gives it a whole different look. Silver Falls. Okay. Get this back in our container. Okay. Now I'm going to get my trash can over here. Let me pull my big trash can over here. And I'm going to take the tape off the top. And we'll show you how it looks. Okay, that's the first part that we've got off. Now we're going to take this off where we're going to then do the pink. Okay, now you can see where I pulled that off. And that left a good clean line. Then down here, I'm going to pull this one off. And you can see it started pulling some of our tape off. So we'll go ahead and get the rest of that off. I've got my new weeding pen that's blue. I love it, love it. And we'll start that here. And it's real easy to pull it up this way, the way that it's taped. And this that you see right in here, that's not stuck. That's just on there where it's static clean. I'll blow it off in just a little bit after it has time to dry. Okay, now you can see that line. Now, let's see, I think I'll go in next maybe and do the black. So with that, we're going to use our bigger brush again. And this, we're going to go right up to the line. And this is one time where I am pulling down to the tape. Down here, I want to try and not do it really bad, but it's hard to pull it away from the top without pulling it into the bottom. So just take it right up to the gold. And remember, we will answer any questions that you've got. And we'll do that tonight, or we'll do it tomorrow. Don't feel like I'm ignoring you, because I'm not. This is just the way I do my lives. I've done them this way from day one, so. And hopefully we won't have to put a second coat on the black, because we painted it black with acrylic paint. If you remember, we did those two when we got cut off in last Monday. Right up to the line. There, just take your time. Don't get in a hurry. It's better to take your time and not have to do over. I'm not saying I hadn't had to do over plenty of times, because I have. But you learn to be as patient as you can be. Going right around the line, very carefully. And the Mod Podge, it's pulling, so I can tell it's already drying. So you have to get in a hurry with Mod Podge. Okay, put my brush back in the water, and we're going to use some To the Moon and Black, and it's fine glitter. And I'm going to try not to get it up into the gold, but if it does, it will dust off. So we're going to blow it off. It won't be a problem. So I'm taking it right up to the goal. And this is a beautiful black. Okay. Right in there. Want some more. Making sure I'm getting down to the tape. Now look at it close. I see some spots where I need to put a little bit more Mod Podge. I don't know if you can see them right there. There's a little spot that I missed, and right there's one. So I want to make sure I got those. So I'm going all the way around and looking, because we want it all sparkly. Just to make sure. Okay, I think that'll have it. Let's try it one more time. Okay, now we've got our black. And that is To the Moon in Black. It's all black bear glitter. And you can use Judy Roars 20 in all caps and get 20% off your first order. And Judy Growls 10 to get 10% off of all your orders after that. Okay, now let me clean out my brush, and then we're going to do the pink. And this pink will be like the pink on our other one, since we don't have, well, I'll tell you what, to show the difference, I've got some pink paint here. Let's paint this one, and that way you can see the difference. Let me clean the glitter out of here. I'll tell you what, I'll just get another one over here that doesn't have glitter in it. It's got dried paint, but it doesn't have glitter, hopefully. And this is just a neon hot pink. And that's really way too much. Get carried away. Ooh, did get carried away. Drip that. And this, we'll dry it with the blow dryer, and then we'll have to put a second coat on. Once you get one coat on and it sort of dries, then the next coat will go on better. Let me see if I can hold it better where you can see it. I happened to look over and saw I've got it where I can see it, but you can't. But this is just show you the difference in putting a base coat on it. Now, if I had got the regular acrylic paint instead of the neon, it would be covering better. The neon doesn't cover as well as the just the regular pink. But I didn't have a hot pink in the other, and I wanted to use a hot pink if we did it this way. And you can see I'm just pushing it right up to the silver. Right up to the silver. I hope you can see it. Doing this, I can't look at the computer. I have to concentrate, ladies and gents. And I have taped these off and spray painted them. It just takes a lot longer because you have to let it dry in between each coat, and you have to seal it, because the way I did this, I'm able to put the tape on it to tape off the area for the different colors. We're doing it the other way. You can't do that. Let me dry this right quick with my blow dryer. And I'm going to hold it over the trash can because that glitter that's loose will fly. And I'm blowing some of it off purposely. We didn't dry it a lot, but we dried it a little bit, so we'll go back in and do a little bit more. Now you can see it's sticking a little bit better over that stainless steel. Has something to cling to with a base coat on it. And you're wanting to push it right up to the silver. Just take your time. I think that got just a little bit too far up in there. Next time I would use regular acrylic paint instead of the neon. Make a note of that. And I hope y'all are, the ones of you that are new that need to, are keeping your notebook and a pencil handy. And like I said, I always do my little trusty cards to know what colors that I used and the dates that I do them. And that way, if something doesn't work, you can go back and look at that card and know what you don't want to do the next time. Like with this, I've done it with acrylic, and I know just regular acrylic paint, and I know it works. So the next time I'll know, go to the store and buy some regular hot pink that's not neon. So that's a note to self that I'll put on my card. Okay. We'll dry it one more time, and then we'll go around it one more time. And hopefully the paint will be wet enough that we can use it to put our glitter on rather than having to use Mod Podge. and I'm holding it over the trash can. And I'll have to get another plate. See if I've got one over here. Yeah. When I get ready to do my glitter, because I got paint in this one, and I don't want glitter sticking to that paint. Okay, now we're going to go around it one more time, and then we're going to use our paint as the base for our glitter to stick to. And if I had to use the other acrylic paint, the coverage in 2 layers would have been enough. And like I said, we may have to put a second coat on this, but maybe, just maybe, using this paint, we won't have to put a second coat of glitter. Trying to make sure I'm getting it sort of even so it won't be splotchy. Take it right up to the silver. I keep looking in there and it looks like I need to move over to one side, but it's hard for me to see which side it's backwards. And one day this week I'm going to be doing a leopard print. Had an order come in for one, so I thought, well, I'll just do that order as a live. And this, I'm concerned about that part right there. See how splotchy it looks? But we'll see what it does. And this is our Barbie Girl. Well, we'll see what Barbie Girl does. Tell a big difference in the coverage. I'll show you when I get through with this one. Okay. And this that you see in here, all that will blow off. Now I got a Barbie hand. Now let me show you the difference in the coverage. See the difference a base color makes? Makes a big difference. Big difference. But this one, I think, so it'll be different. I'm going to leave it like it is. Okay. Now we can see the silver on that. And this, we're not going to put glitter on the silver. So we'll let that dry. And then this one, I'm going to go in, I think I'll blow it off with my airbrush because I don't want to heat it. Turn it on. I'm going to hold it over my trash can. Let's see what's not working. Okay. Okay, now the colors are not mixed, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait till it dries and seal it after I clean off. See these little splotches right here? I'll wipe all that off after it dries, but I want it to dry really good. And I may go back and put another coat of the pink on, simply because it, you know, the spots I told you that I was worried about, you can see where there's a little bit of different color in there. And I don't, if it doesn't show up when it's dry, I won't, but if it does show up when it's dry, then if it shows up, I will put another coat of pink on it. But that's all we're going to do for tonight. And then what we'll do, when we come back for part 2, I'll show you where I've cleaned that off, and we'll have it all cleaned off. And I see a spot right in there. Can you see that? To where I'll put a little bit more gold. That's where the Mod Podge was not quite as thick as it was in another spot. So you can see that difference, and I will fix that. So that's something that we can fix. And then this one is going to be ready. I'll seal the glitter, and then we'll put a coat of epoxy on it and pull the tape off the bottom. So that's what we'll do when we meet again with part 2. And that will be part 2. And I don't think it cut off while we were doing this one. I didn't notice it cutting off. But, you know, I was real into what I was doing, so it may have. So I will go in and answer any questions that you've got, either tonight or tomorrow. So don't think I've ignored you any or anything, because I haven't. I will get you some answers to your questions, either tonight or in the morning. And we will schedule this as a event to do part 2, and then we'll finish them up. I will go back in and touch up any of these spots that need touching up before we meet for part 2. And then once we do that, and I'm thinking I may go in after we do part 2, I may use some of my this tape that I've got. Y'all know the little bitty tape that I use. The silver, the tape. I may go in and put a little bit around this just to do something different and see what it looks like. Now, I see a lot of people that go in and they do the lines real straight, and they'll put silver lines down to where the points are, where they've trimmed the pencil, so to speak, and put silver on that. I've not done one like that. But this one, we may go in and put some of this silver around here just to set it off once we get it on there, and then do our last coat of epoxy. So we'll see. But I'll set another time that we'll meet live again, and we'll go from there. So I hope this showed you something a little bit different than maybe what somebody else has shown you. And I like to try to show you a different way of doing things. And like I said, no particular way is the right way. Everybody does things different, and you have to figure out which way works best for you. So that's what you need to do, and I will answer your questions, and I really appreciate you joining me. And I will talk to you later. Y'all have a great, great evening. Hey everybody, we're going to be finishing our pencil tumblers. Something's wrong with my lighting. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, it looks dark, but that's okay. We're going to finish our pencil tumblers. This is the one that we started that has no glitter, and then we did one that is all glitter. So I'm going to turn you down, and we'll go over the process of doing the pencil tumblers and get started, and I'll explain to you what I did. I told you when we ended part one that we would have some touch-ups that we'd have to do, and I'll show you where I did the touch-ups and then the process that I did after that, and then what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to turn you down and we're going to get started, and I'm going to see if I can turn you up on again on my computer to see if make sure we can see what I'm doing. So let me get it pulled up right quick if I can. So y'all give me just a minute. You know I like to try to see where everything's in line so I can make sure that you can see what's going on. So give me just a minute. And let's see. Don't see it yet. So, and if there's any pause in, I'll try to catch it and see if I can make it work. Well, let me slide. See if I can slide that up and turn it down a little bit more so you can see a little bit better. Maybe that will do it. So let's see now. It's not showing yet, so anyway, let me look and see. I think that is in the frame, so we'll go from there. Okay, this is the one that we did that had no glitter. And if you'll remember, I told you that I sanded it, and I painted it, and I taped it off. And remember how I showed you how we taped it off, and I left silver around the bottom. And around the top, we taped off the black. I did a wood grain up to about right here. And then we taped off the pink for the eraser, and we taped off the silver. That would be the band around the pencil. So once I got that done, then I did the wood grain. And then I took all of my little points for the pencil, and I placed them all around the bottom. And once I did that, then all this is still tape, this is still tape, and I spray painted the blue. Then when I took the blue off, then we were going to leave the silver. So I fixed a piece of tape here to cover up the silver, and then we did the pink. Now I did the pink, if you remember, with a little bit of glitter, and I did not like it. So I took this paint. This is just some pink paint that I had that was not the neon paint. And I painted it pink, and I think it looks much better. So then I put a coat of epoxy on it. And as you can see there's some glitter, I think, on this, evidently this little bean bag. But you get glitter. It's just hard to keep glitter off of everything. I've just found that going forward that it is so hard to do that. So anyway, then once I epoxied it and took it off and the epoxy was cured, then I sanded around the top. Now, I always, when I sand, I take my sanding block, I clean it first with my X-Acto knife. I clean it around the top like this with my X-Acto knife all the way around. And then I take my sanding block and I sand it this way. And then, I don't know if you can see this little bit of silver that's shining through. I wish I could see on the screen to tell if it's showing. Let me log out and back in just one more time and see if I can get it to pull up. I don't like not being able to see what I'm showing you and making sure you're seeing it. So, well, let's see, I still don't see it. Yeah, now I see. Let's see. Just a shade. Okay, now we got it. Okay, now this silver right here around the top, the way I sand that, I take my sanding block and I do it this way, all the way around it. Because I want just that little tiny bit of silver showing. As you know, if you've watched my lives, I usually tape the top and tape the bottom of my cups. But when I'm doing a design that I don't, well then this is another step that I take to help make sure there's a good seal around the top. And I just do this back and forth until I can see that rim that I want to see, that tiny rim of silver that you can see around it. And it's all the way around it. Just a tiny rim of silver showing. And then we talked about using our tape. I went ahead and taped this one off. I taped right at the bottom and I taped around the top. But I'm going to show you how I did the taping when we look at the glitter one. So that's what we are in this. And this one, the next thing we would do, we'd put the decal on it and put our, hopefully, last coat of epoxy. Might not be, but you never know. Now this one I have worked on the rim. I went ahead and took my X-Acto knife and I cleaned around the top. There was very little epoxy around the top, but then I sand it like this around the top and then go back all the way around. I did it a little bit, but I didn't do it as much as I wanted to. But this gives that silver rim at the top that I'm talking about. And it just makes it easier when you put on that last coat of epoxy. It gives a little bit of that silver, which seals in your glitter and your base around the top. Really good. And it gives it a nice finished look. If you're not going to tape off the top. And usually on pencil tumblers, I don't tape the top. On my fishing lure tumblers, I don't tape the top. And we did one of those a couple of weeks back. And I've got to order for another one that we'll be doing that's totally different. Okay. There's a spot I want to get. And you can look at it and eyeball it and see if it looks even all the way around. Right there's the spot. When you do a lot of them, you just learn what to look for and what not to look for. Okay, now taking a paper towel and wiping it all around the top. Now that, well, you can see where it's dull looking where I sanded it, but when we get the epoxy on it, all that will just pop right back up and shine. But as you can see, we did tape the bottom of this, and what I'll do before I put epoxy on it, I'll retape this, and then I'm going to sand right around here, all the way around. But I'm not going to sand until I put the tape on it because I don't want to scuff up this bottom part. I want it to stay shiny. So that's what we're going to do. But now we're going to put this tape on it. And everybody always asks me about the tape. This is tape that I got during Christmas at Hobby Lobby. And I'm sure they've probably got some now. But it was in the middle aisles where they have all the Christmas stuff. So that's where I got this tape. And I'm putting it right below. I'll show you in just a minute. I'll keep it out here where you can see it. Right there, there's some yellow showing, and I don't want the yellow showing at all. I want just enough that it blends and joins with the silver without the yellow showing. At the angle, me doing it so you can see, it's hard for me to see that the yellow's covered up. But as you can see, I'm taking it right up to the yellow and the silver so that more of it's on the yellow than it is on the silver. But I don't want the yellow showing, so I'm just taking it right around, right at the base of where we already had silver. And I'll do this all the way around. And this tape, you want to make sure it's tight, but you can't pull it hard because it will break. It's not real forgiving. It's not stretchy tape, so it will break if you're not very careful. Okay, and right there is where we overlapped it. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a sharp X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut it right past that so that where it's cut, those pieces will go in real tight together. Now, I'll lift this up. And I'll pull out that's behind it. Right there where we cut it. Oh, I may have ripped it, y'all. I think I did. I may have to do that one over. Yep. See right there where when I lifted it up, I ripped it. So I'm going to take that off and do the whole thing over because I don't want to leave that on there and I don't want to piece it. So we're going to do that over. Don't want it messy. We want it beautiful. Okay. Here we go again. So let's start again and get it to where it's going to be right below this, right at the silver, so that yellow's not showing in between the yellow glitter and this silver band that we're putting on. And I hope it doesn't get it out of frame for y'all, but I got to get it up at the angle where I can see it to make sure it's matching and the yellow's not showing. Okay, and remember, when I do lives, I don't answer questions during the live. I always go back afterwards. Now, I do have another live at 3 o'clock, so it will be a leopard print, fade or ombre, whichever you want to call it. And I'll have to get ready for it, so I may not answer questions until after that live's over. It may even be after we go to dinner tonight. But remember, I will answer your questions, and I'll try to go back and comment to everybody that joined, because I really appreciate each of you that take your time to join in and watch me do a live. So I always try to be courteous and answer everybody's questions, even though I don't comment when I am doing the lives. Okay, now this one, I'm taking it right above the silver so that the pink doesn't show. And this really, I think, makes the lines look crisp. And the pencils always have that metal band around them anyway. And this is one way of getting that look in there too. So I just like this look when doing a pencil tumbler. Okay, right there's where they meet. You can see right here. So where I'm lapping it over just enough that I can cut them both at the same time. And I'm holding it down when I cut it. Okay. Now I'm going to put this back. And then I'm going to fold this back and get my... And as you can see from where I did it on the other one, you have to be really careful or you will tear it. Don't want to do that. Okay. Now, we'll see where we've got that on there. And now, the next step will be putting the decals on. And I did not get them completely weeded, so trying to think which one. I think I'll probably put this one on the one that is not glitter And that way it could be for a male teacher too. Most male teachers don't like glitter, some might. But this is a 2-layer, and I'm going to put this one, and I'll put the heart right here. And then this one is 3 layers. It's teachers plant the seeds of knowledge for a lifetime. So that's the one we're going to do on that. And if you want to watch me, I'm going to look over at the comments right quick and see if that's something you want to sit and watch me do, is weed this a little bit and then put it on there. I don't usually look at comments, but those of you that are watching, if you will comment right quick, and remember there is a delay, so I won't be able to see it right away, but if you'll sort of comment and let me know if you want to see that. You are used to doing decals, and you know, I hate to do something like that when I know that it's something you do every day. So that's something we can do, and we can even put the epoxy on it if you want to, but you do that every day. So I just, you know, I don't think you'd want me to do that. But anyway, this is the way it looks before we put the decals on it, and then we'll put the epoxy on it. And this one, you can see it does have some specks of glitter that I will try to get off. It had very few on there, but when they get on there from something like this where they're stuck to it, and I can see sparkles all over my little pad there to try to get them off. But anyway, that's the way that this one looks with the band around it. And I think it looks much better with just the pink than it did with the glitter pink. So this one, and you can see there's some little spots in this where it was not completely smooth, but all that will smooth out when we add our next coat of epoxy on there. So, okay, I don't see anybody commenting that they want to see that. So, what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and weed these off camera and get them on the cup and get the epoxy on it, and then I will go back and place it as a finished product for you guys to be able to see them. But that gives you an idea of what you're looking like with one with glitter and one without. And then putting the decals on it. A lot of times I will lay them down and layer them, which I would start with this one, and then I would put this one on, and then I would go back and put this on where it goes on there, and layer it that way. And then with this one, I would put this part on first once I weed it, and then this little heart will go right in here in that area, right in there. But that's the way I would do the decals. So anyway, I'm not going to take the rest of your time and make you wait for me to do that. And if sometime it is something that you want to see in the comments, if you'll just let me know that that's something you want to take time watching, I'll be glad to do it. But when it's something that I feel like you do continuously, I don't feel like it's necessary for me to show you how to lay a decal when you know how to do that, and especially weed them. I just didn't have time to get them weeded. I had several things going on this morning. So anyway, y'all have a good rest of the day, and I will post the finished product. And I hope you will come back at 3 and join us for the leopard print that we're going to do. Excuse me. The customer asked for a 20 ounce, and she wants the top part black, and she wants it to fade into the gold or ombre into the gold. And then I've got 2 different leopard prints I'm going to show you. The one that she wants is solid black leopard print, but somebody in some comments somewhere, I don't remember where, was asking about a leopard print that was black with a reddish brown print, and I'll show you that one also, and show you how we do that when we come back at 3 o'clock and do our leopard print. So I hope to see you then, and y'all have a great rest of the afternoon. Bye now. Now here is the finished product from the pencil tumblers that we did. This is the one that is the glitter, and I did change my mind, and I switched the quotes that I said I was going to put on them after I got to looking at them. So this is the one with glitter, and then this is the one that was supposed to be no glitter. And I couldn't get all the glitter specks off of it, so I just fixed it. I put some AG 47 in my epoxy when I put it on the tumbler. So now it's a glitter tumbler because I couldn't get all the specks of glitter off of it. So anyway, this is the one that was supposed to be no glitter, but now it's sparkling like crazy. I mean, I guess you can see all the sparkles of that AG47. I mean, it is just beautiful. Okay. Thank you for joining and watching.